Hey guys, Dev was a bit slow yesterday and day before because not so well. Picking up now, so today will be more AI improvement and then also team commands. So like while you're battling, you can give your allies, not the ones in your party, but your allies certain commands. So things like, push on forward, push on through, hold the line, fall back, move north, move east, move west. I'll also later on add in an ability to like click waypoints. I mean, it's easy to do. It's just I don't know how. Adding waypoints could get a bit dangerous because you could just tell them just to go anywhere. So I've implemented team commands. It was a lot easier than I expected. You just hold down the B button and you can like quick select, like tell your teams to like hold position, come to my location, move north, move south, or you can like set manual waypoints for your teams, your allied teams. It's getting a little bit, involved now, right? It's becoming a proper game because, like, if you hold the M button, you get menu. If you hold the N button, you get the quick select. B for team commands. U launches drones. You've got quick dash. You've got your weapons. Change weapons. There's a ton of grenades. What else is there? There's just tons of stuff. I can't even think. There's lots and lots of stuff now. So it's all coming out really nicely. I think what will happen is once that's rounded off, like the hardest part I'm doing just now, which is just really finishing off the AI logic to make them smarter. And then I think I'm good to go just to just start bashing out levels. So how I see the whole battle all together is you'll have like your RPG mode where you're running, as your party, as you've seen, battling. You can then give command to allied teams. You can press, I'm thinking you're probably going to be able to, which was my original plan, switch between parties. So you might have, say, Morrigan and Gia and her party at the other side of the map, your party, allied teams, and the camera will pin between you and, say, Morgan's party. So you can switch between them as you like beat different objectives. And you can, give commands to your allies to back either of you up. So it's going to be quite a large scale, like massive, almost like my original idea was like this MMORPG vibe, and it will really come together when you're like battling like a huge boss. Maybe you might even battle three bosses at the same time. I feel like I'm coming really close to the just wrapping this all together. I know in the stream yesterday it still doesn't look like it, but that's just the way these things are. Like, you go from it looking kind of half done to basically being complete because it's the stuff you don't see behind the scenes. And behind the scenes, it's looking really good. As you mentioned, there's like the RTS blended bit, and then the RTS, which is the RTS is mostly done as well. There's just again AI logic to wrap up on that. Um, so moving between these three modes plus the visual novel is totally is coming on really well. Hey guys, I just wanted to share a bit of a brain fart that I had as I'm iterating through the RPG battles and it's slowly taking shape. It feels like, well, not obviously, but it's kind of taking shape beyond my control, if that makes sense. Like, it's almost as if it's got a mind of its own. And the direction it seems to be pulling me in, which is the direction I was kind of hoping to go into, to be honest, I had two potential ideas I wanted to follow. One was a Sonic 3D party kind of run about, do missions, unlock, and move to the next mission. And that certainly is there for the more smaller battles. The second part, which is coming together now, are these team battles. And man, I've just put in some simple code, but man, is it spectacular, to be honest. It's so exciting playing it. I mean, maybe it's just me, but like, I have now a battle where there was like 100 enemies in front of me, like 100 enemies, different kinds, and I had like a team of about 20. So I had like Fel and Kira, and then Irvin's team, and then Forbes' team, and we were like pushing through the enemy. And rather than us being like three separate teams that do our shit, which is certainly there's scope for that, and that's kind of easy to do now. Now I've got the party mechanic. There's also this, like, we just kind of merge into like a big fucking, I don't know, it's like just a big army. And we just like fight their army, And it's not quite head on, but there's like bullets and grenades and drones flying everywhere, and it's honestly super satisfying. I kind of realize it might be a little bit silly, but for an RPG game aspect of that, it's extremely satisfying, and I think it's a good mechanic. It's like a really solid mechanic. And all I needed to do was say, okay, Urban's assault team, you support us from the left flank. SES guys, you support us from the right flank. And I thought that would have been an issue if my party moved left or right, but it actually turned out to be fine when I put in the dial. So it just works really good. I can now, the next thing is I'll add like a clockwise rotation so that when we do run about the map, they'll maintain, basically my left flank wherever I'm facing, but not in a way that it's silly, not like a schmuck where they're always on your left wing. They move from point A to B, so you can run ahead of them. Sometimes they'll run ahead of you. So that actually, yeah, it comes together really nicely. Because when they engage an enemy, they're not like, oh, I must follow Straker. They're like, shit, I've got enemies to shoot. Let's take out the targets, and then later we'll worry about, what objective points I've got to go to. So it's actually coming out really nicely. And just seeing like the game handling just tons and tons of weapon fire and tons of explosives with no problem is really put a big smile on my face, because I was actually worried, I had these issues with the RTS, which I optimized the hell out of. Whereas here, yeah, it just works, man, and it doesn't slow down, and everybody's just laying into each other. It's kind of glorious. I can still see it like as a glitchy mess just now, but the potential I see once I do more cleanup, yeah, I think this could be real fun. There's one thing I'm like really, really surprised that none of you guys have actually pulled me up on, which is the dangers of Sakari women and human males fighting in combat together. Once all the engines are oiled and I'm well pushing on, I am definitely going to be putting a ton of that. And, the human men and the Sakari women kind of flirting banter between each other and, upping it up and staking bets that, who's going to shake whose bones after the next fight and things like that. Morning, guys. Hope you're all doing well. So I was like watching some devlogs last night when I take a break. Just always best to learn and do at the same time. So just reading what other people are doing and getting an idea, watching documentaries and things. And then I always just watch bits. I would never spend an hour on anything. So like I noticed a lot of people spend ages on delivering stuff. So like I can't remember the name of the company, but they're like, oh, we need to do like a GUI for an item select. And then the team's like, yeah, that's going to take a week, maybe a week and a half. And I'm like, what? A week and a half? And then there's another one which is like, we need to do like a lock on. And then the team's like, yeah, that's 2 weeks. We would need 2 weeks to deliver. It's not one guy, it's a fucking team. So the animator's like, well, I need to do the lock on icon and make it flash. And then the developers are like, yeah, we need to like point the character in the right direction. And I'm like, dude, I fucking did that in an hour and a half. And I've got more sprite directions than you guys do. You've got like four or five to deal with. I've got like 8. And it's like, it made me realize something pretty profound. It's a completely different story when we talk about guys like Toby who did Undertale like himself. Sure, he's a bit like me. Like, he got help from musicians which he paid, like he outsourced. It's entirely his game though. He owned it, he directed it, wrote the story, wrote the music, wrote the code. The guy did everything. And you know what? Like, that's different. Kudos to him. But the people who were critical, because it was so much more of a knit community, they were like, hey, Toby, we really think you need to improve this thing. And he took it on board and did it. And that's what a proper developer does. That's what I do. And it is different if you're making it, but then the fans respond differently as well. So it's not like big corp number 2. So I kind of feel like that's the big difference when you hear about these developers either whining or whatever. It's like, take into consideration, are they being paid? or is this their own venture? If this is their own venture, then sure, it hurts. It could hurt if somebody shits on your game. But at the same point, if you're working for a big company, grow up. You're getting paid. I don't know if you guys have heard on the news, but the Final Fantasy 14 dev, he's like the lead dev. He came out and he said basically he attacked the fans. But I do agree with him in part. He's like, if you keep shitting on our games, it's gonna like dishearten the developers, which will then make the quality worse. Like they're pouring their lives into it. He's like, we can't help, it doesn't confine to your standards, blah 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 blah. But I'm like, no, dude, that's kind of like the fans' prerogative. Sorry, if a fans want to complain and they're not happy, fucking so be it. And the issue is like, why are you getting your feelings hurt? You're working for a company. It's not your thing. Like, if I work in a job, right, I'm getting paid whatever to do 40 hours a week in my job. And if somebody complains, like, oh, Adam didn't do this right, or, Adam messed this up, it's like, I'm not going to go home and cry in my pillow because I'm getting paid for it. It's a fucking job. Whoopie do, you didn't do the thing right as a developer who's getting paid by a fucking megacorp, Squaresoft or Square Enix, or whatever. Who fucking cares? Like, you're getting paid, dude. It's not yours. You don't own it. You might have your name on it. Maybe you feel that way because you're the fucking lead dev, and everybody's gonna forget the other devs' names. So you're popular anyway. So like maybe you're upset because it'll tarnish your name. So fucking what? Grow up, mate. That's how I feel about it. There are exceptions though. So I don't know if you've heard about Pirate Games. He got called out again. He's getting called out all the time. Now, some things he gets called out for are not true. Like his voice thing is not true, right? Like the guy did drop his voice, right? That's fair. That does happen. It's a medical condition. You can drop your voice, but there's like two times in your life. But there is something that he did lie about, and it's pretty fucking big. Like a developer, like streamer, blogger comes on and says, "Look, Pirate Games like code for what's it? What's the game he made? It's called Heartbound." And he's like, "Well, your game is dog shit and it barely runs and it's like really informant." And then what happened was Pirate Games did a 10-hour cope stream where he's talking like how that guy's a liar and he's in it for the clicks and the money. And then Pirate Games went and said, "Look, if my game can run on a smart fridge, then it doesn't matter because it's super optimal anyway." But what they found out was he was cheating. He was just streaming the game to the smart fridge. He was using a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino, no Raspberry Pi, and he was streaming the game to the smart fridge and then saying, "Look how performant my game is. It runs on a smart fridge." So that's bad. Right? That's not good. That's a total lie. And as a developer, like if you lie and you kind of like ardently try to like ruffle feathers and stuff, then you kind of deserve. I'm sorry, like you put all your effort into the game and people criticize it, but people are always going to criticize games. There's tons of criticism that I've got, which I'm like, yeah, that's a criticism. My game, my game certainly won't be the most performant. Maybe in the end, but it is on Python, right? So you've got limits with Python. So I mean, um, the best thing is just to be as upfront as you can, which is why I always poll you guys. Like I'd rather just say to you guys and admit something and say, "Hey guys, look, I've really got this song. It's AI. I fucking love it. I don't know if a musician can replicate it. What do you think? Should I keep it in?" I'd rather be open and get your guys' feedback than to kind of like obfuscate and lie and hide between stuff. Now, I want to be really, really transparent here. And I feel this shows me as my maturity as a dev, but also it's important. I think set a standard, right? No one's perfect, mate. I've been there before. We've all been there. As a developer, I can guarantee you, every developer's lied at some point, right? Because you're embarrassed or you've worked really hard on something and you really want like acknowledgement. Because it's like being a developer's like being an artist. I remember 10, 15 years ago, I was like obfuscating. But afterwards, it took time, but afterwards I felt dirty as hell. Like I really, really regretted that. And it's not like a one-time thing, right? It's not like, and that taught me a lesson, right? Like we're all human. it took a few times before like it's just small things, but before you begin to realize it, and then you develop a set of values which more strongly guides your direction, which is why it leads me to think guys like that Pirate Games and stuff, they're not really mature developers. He's not really mature. There's other guys, Jonathan Blow comes to mind, who are more like elitists, but these are all kind of immature developers, and I think they don't do justice to the industry. Now, again, I'm not perfect, right? But I do think the most important thing as an indie dev is by constantly reaching out and working with your fans. That is just absolutely critical in my eye. Sorry, this was a big rant, but um, yeah, you get some insights from the development side.